My stepmom stole my late mom's 45K inheritance to buy her daughter a Mercedes. Karma made her pay 3 times over. My mom left me something to build my future. By the time I reached for it, someone else had already cashed in, and karma was just getting started. My name is Alana. I'm 19, and I don't even know how to start this without my hands shaking. What happened to me feels like something out of a twisted movie, the kind where karma shows up swinging. I've posted nothing personal online before, but I'm angry and just tired. So if you're reading this, thanks for being here. My life used to be good. It wasn't perfect, but I had a mom who loved me more than anything. Her name was Christine. She made homemade chicken pot pie on Sundays, hated thunderstorms, and always braided my hair before bed, even when I acted too cool for it. She was my everything. She died when I was 9. Ovarian cancer. It was fast and unfair. One day she was driving me to dance practice in her old Honda Civic, and a few months later, I was standing by her hospital bed, holding her cold hand and trying not to cry because she told me I needed to be strong. Before she passed, she set up a $45,000 trust to be given to me when I turned 18. One night, she whispered, "Use it for college, or your first apartment, or something that makes you proud. That money is for you, sweetheart." My dad was there too, nodding in agreement. He promised he'd protect it. I believed him. Back then, I still trusted people. For a while, it was just me and Dad. He worked long hours at the construction company, but he tried. I could tell he was hurting too, but he always made time for my dance recitals or to drive me to sleepovers at my best friend Savannah's house. Then, when I was about 11, he met Vanessa, and everything changed. Vanessa had a smile that made people think she was warm. She knew exactly what to say, always complimenting my curls, asking about my grades, and bringing over homemade chocolate chip cookies. She played the sweet, caring future stepmom card like she was born for it. I wanted to believe she could make Dad happy again. I wanted to believe I could be happy again too. But things rarely turn out the way we wish they would. They got married a year later. That's when the mask came off. At first it was subtle. She started taking up more space by redecorating the house, throwing out my mom's things and telling Dad it was time to move on. Then came her daughter, Brianna. She was my age, but everything about her screamed entitled. She walked into our lives as if she owned the place. Suddenly, everything was about Brianna, her favorite meals, cheerleading practice, and her brand new iPhone. I was still wearing old jeans and thrift store hoodies while she strutted around in designer everything. But I didn't complain, at least not at first. I kept thinking it was temporary. Then my dad died of a heart attack. I was 15. I still remember that morning. Vanessa screamed so loud it made my ears ring. I ran into the hallway and saw the paramedics rolling him out, his face pale and still. Just like Mom. It felt as if the floor had cracked open again. After that, everything fell apart fast. Vanessa became my legal guardian, and let's just say she didn't pretend to like me anymore. She didn't say it directly at first, but it was obvious. She started calling me that girl instead of my name. Brianna became her entire world. Brianna got a new laptop and designer clothes. I got her old shirts, some too tight, some with makeup stains or stretched collars. I asked once if I could get a new winter coat. Brianna's old one was ripped and the zipper didn't work right. Vanessa stared at me and said, "Be grateful you have something to wear at all." I remember that night clearly. It was freezing outside, and the wind whistled through the cracks in the basement walls. She had moved me down there, saying I was too messy for the guest room. I slept on a thin mattress laid out on cold concrete. No windows, barely any heat, just darkness and damp air that made my throat hurt every morning. I didn't even fight it anymore. I just survived. Brianna would stomp on the floor above my head and laugh, yelling, "Basement rat's awake again!" I'd shove earbuds in and stare at the ceiling, imagining my mom's voice telling me to hold on. Dinner was another story. Vanessa and Brianna would eat together at the table with plates full of pot roast, salmon, or lasagna. I'd get whatever was left, usually cold, sometimes half-eaten. One time, I found a used napkin in my portion. When I asked if I could eat with them sometime, Vanessa just said, "You eat when we're done. Be patient." So I kept my head down and counted the days until I turned 18. That was supposed to be the day I'd finally get my inheritance. My mom's gift. The one thing no one could take away. Or so I thought. When my birthday came, Vanessa surprised me. She actually threw a party with cake, balloons, and cheap streamers from the dollar store. She even hugged me. It felt wrong, stiff, and fake. But I smiled through it and told myself, one more night, then I'm gone. After the guests left, I waited until Brianna went upstairs. Then I walked into the kitchen, where Vanessa was pretending to clean up. I leaned on the counter and asked, "So, about the trust?" She didn't look at me, just kept wiping the same spot on the counter. Finally, she sighed. "Honey, that money's gone." I blinked. "Gone?" My chest tightened. "What do you mean, gone?" She turned to me with that fake smile again. "You've lived here rent-free for years. Do you know how much food and electricity cost? I used that money for household needs." I stared at her, heart pounding. "Household needs?" I asked. "You mean Brianna's Mercedes?" Her face changed. That smile dropped like a stone. "Don't you raise your voice at me," she snapped. "That car was for the family. You'll use it too." I laughed bitterly. "You don't even let me upstairs when you have company." She took a step toward me. "Watch your tone, girl. You should thank me for raising you at all." Before I said something I'd regret, I walked out without even grabbing my jacket. I just kept walking into the cold and the dark, my breath coming out in white puffs, tears freezing on my cheeks. The next day, I called my mom's old lawyer. She'd introduced me to him when I was little, told me he was the man to trust if anything ever happened. His name was Mr. Caldwell. He didn't sugarcoat it. "She withdrew the funds about 8 months ago," he said over the phone. "Filed it under guardian expenses, technically legal, since you weren't of age yet." I felt as if someone had punched me in the gut. My mom's money, the money she saved by working overtime at the hospital, by skipping vacations, by sacrificing so I could have a better future, gone, spent on leather seats and custom rims for a spoiled girl who didn't even know what struggle meant. I could have screamed. Instead, I got a job, then another. First, at a coffee shop downtown, making lattes and cleaning tables. Then at an auto body shop in the next town over, answering phones, filing paperwork, and learning about cars from the mechanics. I saved every dollar I could, bought my own clothes, paid for my own food. I didn't owe Vanessa anything anymore. Meanwhile, Brianna was living it up. She bragged to her friends about her sweet 16 gift. A shiny silver Mercedes-Benz with leather seats and a premium sound system. I came home from work one night covered in coffee stains, and she was out front taking selfies with it. "Hey!" she shouted, grinning. "Maybe I'll let you detail it for me, basement girl." I didn't say a word, just walked past her, head high, like she didn't exist. But inside, I burned with a rage so hot it scared me. I didn't know it yet, but karma was already on its way. 2 months later, it happened. Brianna was driving that same Mercedes, the one my mom's money paid for, on her way to a party at some guy's lake house. It was raining hard that night, one of those spring storms that made the roads slick and shiny like glass. From what I heard later, she was on FaceTime with her boyfriend, showing off her outfit, and probably speeding like she always did because she thought the rules didn't apply to her. She lost control on a sharp curve near the interstate, hit a concrete barrier, and slammed into another car. The Mercedes was totaled. She survived, but just barely. Broken ribs, a punctured lung, a shattered wrist, and damage to her knee so bad the doctors said she'd never do competitive cheerleading again. I found out from a neighbor who came banging on the door at 1 in the morning. Vanessa's screams filled the house like in some horror movie. It was so bad, I even felt it in my chest. I should have stayed out of it. But I didn't. I drove her to the hospital. Don't ask me why. Maybe because I knew what it felt like to watch someone you love almost die. Or maybe because, for one moment, I saw her not as the woman who made me sleep in a basement, but as a terrified mother. She clutched her purse so tight her knuckles turned white, sobbing, "My baby, my poor baby. I can't lose her." We didn't say much during the drive, just the sound of the wipers and her crying. When we got there, I sat in the waiting room for hours while doctors worked on Brianna. I was exhausted, my eyes burning, but I stayed because somewhere deep down, I was still that little girl who wanted to believe families helped each other. The next day, Brianna woke up. The first words out of her mouth? "This wasn't my fault. The road was wet. The other driver cut me off. They came out of nowhere. No thank you for helping her. No, I'm lucky to be alive." Just blame, deflection, and excuses. But the police report didn't lie. It clearly stated she was on her phone, speeding, and driving recklessly. Witnesses saw it happen. The dashcam from the other car caught everything. No one was buying the victim act. To make matters worse, the other car had a woman and her college-aged daughter inside. Both survived but were seriously hurt. The daughter broke her collarbone and needed reconstructive surgery on her face. The mother had a severe concussion and a broken hip. They were stuck in the hospital for weeks, facing months of physical therapy. About a month later, Vanessa got a letter. Thick, official-looking, with a law firm's name embossed on the envelope. The woman and her daughter were suing her. Since the Mercedes was registered in her name, she was legally responsible for all damages. She completely freaked out. The house, the insurance claims, the mounting medical bills, and the court fees were all about to crash down on her. That night, I came home from a late shift at the body shop. She sat at the kitchen table, the same table I was never allowed to sit at when guests came over. Her face was pale, her hands trembling as she flipped through legal papers that seemed to multiply with every page. When she looked up, I already knew what was coming. "Alana," she said, her voice small and shaky, "we need to talk." I dropped my backpack and crossed my arms. "About what?" "I need your help. Please. I know you've been working hard. 2 jobs, right? Maybe you could help with the bills, just until this lawsuit thing settles." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean the bills my inheritance already paid for?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Don't be petty. You can't hold grudges forever. We're still family." I stared at her, trying to process the nerve it took to sit there and ask me that. The absolute audacity. "You stole from me. You made me sleep in a basement like some kind of servant. You fed me scraps and called me family only when it suited you." She sprang up from her chair. "I did what I had to do. You think it was easy raising 2 teenagers on my own? You think your father left me anything?" I shook my head slowly. "You didn't raise me. You tolerated me. There's a difference." She stepped closer, her perfume hitting me like a wall. "I gave you a roof over your head." I cut her off. "My mom gave me that roof. You just stripped the love out of it and turned it into a prison." She said nothing for a while. Then she muttered something under her breath, something about me being ungrateful and cold-hearted, and stormed out of the room. I heard her bedroom door slam so hard a picture fell off the hallway wall. I didn't follow her. I went to bed in my basement corner and slept better than I had in years. The trial date came fast. Vanessa showed up to court looking like a completely different person, wearing a conservative black dress, minimal makeup, with tears already welling in her eyes, and her voice trembling as she talked about being a struggling single mother and how hard life had been since my father passed. She said she was doing her best and trying to keep the family together. For a moment, watching her perform, I almost believed her act. But then the opposing attorney stood up, a sharp woman in a burgundy suit, and pulled out a folder thick with financial records. It was all there: bank statements, trust withdrawal records, receipts for the Mercedes purchase, Proof that she took the full $45,000 from my account 8 months before I turned 18, right down to the day and time of the wire transfer. The judge leaned forward, reading through the documents with a furrowed brow. Then he looked directly at Vanessa and said, "Mrs. Hartwell, can you confirm this $45,000 came from your stepdaughter's inheritance fund?" Vanessa hesitated, her lawyer whispering urgently in her ear. It It was used for family expenses, Your Honor. Housing, food, utilities. He nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. Family expenses. Like your daughter's Mercedes-Benz? Silence. You could have heard a pin drop in that courtroom. Even the court reporter stopped typing for a second. The judge continued. According to these records, the vehicle was purchased 2 weeks after the trust withdrawal. The amount matches almost exactly, minus a few $100s. Vanessa's face went red, then white. Your Honor, I can explain. I'm sure you can, he said coldly. But the facts speak for themselves. The final ruling was brutal and perfect. Karma made her pay 3 times over, just like the title promised. She was ordered to pay $135,000 to the injured family for damages, medical costs, pain and suffering, and emotional distress. On top of that, she was required to reimburse me the full $45,000 for breach of fiduciary duty, misuse of guardianship funds, and emotional damages. The judge even added interest. Total, $180,000. She couldn't pay it, not even close. Her lawyer tried to negotiate a payment plan, but the numbers didn't work. She had to sell the house within 45 days. It was the same house she kicked me around in, the one I was never allowed to decorate or feel safe in, the one where I spent 3 years sleeping on concrete. Now it was gone, a for sale sign stuck in the front yard like a tombstone. The Mercedes had already been hauled to a salvage yard and sold for parts. She and Brianna packed up what little they could fit into a rented moving truck and moved in with Vanessa's mother in some small town in Ohio. I didn't ask where exactly. I didn't care enough to remember. On the day she left, I was sitting on the front porch steps, sipping gas station coffee and watching the movers load boxes into a beat-up truck. She walked out last, dragging a suitcase with a broken wheel behind her. She stopped in front of me, looking like she hadn't slept in days, her hair unwashed, her eyes hollow. "You're cold, Alana," she said quietly, her voice cracking. "I treated you like my own daughter." I glanced around at the empty living room visible through the open door, the dusty windows, the space I could never sit in when guests came over. "No," I said calmly, meeting her eyes. "You treated me like a burden you couldn't get rid of. My mom treated me like her world. That's the difference." She didn't say anything, just turned and walked away, the suitcase wheels squeaking with every step. I stayed in town, still working at the body shop, picking up coffee shop shifts when I can. The owner of the shop, a gruff but kind man named Pete, helped me fix up an old Ford Explorer someone donated after their kid went to college. It's nothing fancy, but it runs smooth. And it's mine, earned with my own sweat and determination. I'm saving for college now, looking at community colleges with good nursing programs. I'm not rushing it. For the first time in years, I'm not just surviving. I'm living, slowly, carefully, and on my own terms. I'm learning what it means to build a life instead of just enduring one. A few weeks after she left, Vanessa sent me one last text message. "You got what you wanted. Hope you're happy now." I stared at the screen for a while, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Then I replied with something my mom used to say. "I didn't want revenge, I only wanted justice." Then I blocked her number and deleted the conversation. I still drive by the salvage yard sometimes when I'm running parts for Pete. Brianna's Mercedes, or what's left of it, is sitting out near the fence in a row of other wrecked vehicles. Twisted metal, cracked frame, windshield gone, seats ripped out. It looks like a skeleton of everything they built on lies and cruelty. I don't smile when I see it, but something settles in my chest. It's not joy, and it's not revenge. It's peace, quiet and final, like a door softly closing on a chapter I never wanted to read in the first place. Sometimes I wonder if karma is real, or if it's just something we tell ourselves to feel better about injustice. But then I remember what my mom used to say when she tucked me in, back before the sickness, before the chaos, when the world still made sense. You don't have to get even, sweetheart. The universe has a long memory. And somehow, even now, sitting in my little explorer with the windows down and the radio playing softly, I know she was right. The universe remembered, and when it came time to settle accounts, it didn't forget a single thing.